Well, hello, writers. Welcome to episode number 104 of How Do You Write? I'm Rachael Herron. I'm your host. I have restarted this dang podcast recording 17 times or something like that. There's dogs chewing and barking and running, and everything is chaotic outside, and my brain feels a little bit chaotic too. So I'm just going to record this, and you get what you get. Life is all around us. It's around you right now. Definitely around me. So, welcome. Pull up a chair. Let's talk about writing. Today, I am talking to the wonderful and charming Kilby Blades, who is the multi-award winning author of smart contemporary romantic fiction. She also came out with a book that y'all might be interested in called Marketing Steamy Romance. And we talk about all things writing, including romance. I know you're going to enjoy the interview. Before we get into that, a little bit of catch up around here. I am home from the writer's retreat at the Pigeon Point Lighthouse, which is just south of Half Moon Bay by about 20 minutes. So it's about 70 minutes away from where I live. So pretty darn close. And it is gorgeous. If you follow me on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook, you've seen the lighthouse photos. What it is it's a hostel on in the middle of nowhere on a cliff. It has the lighthouse, the old keeper's house, which is, you can't go in them. They're too dangerous. They're always working on refurbishing them. There's a town called Pescadero about 10 minutes down the road, and you can get a good meal there at Dewart's Tavern and get some lalliberry pie to go with it. But other than that, there's nothing around for miles and miles and miles and miles. If you go right out the door of the lighthouse in these, from the houses that they have there, that is part of the hostel, you end up at the beach. If you go left, you end up at the beach. Basically, you're just surrounded by water and pelicans and the spray and the noise. The surf is never out of your ears. And because I'm such a city girl, it took me a day or two for my brain to rewire and say, oh, I'm listening to waves and not the roar of traffic, which is actually almost indistinguishable in the human brain. They've done studies on it, interestingly enough. And when subjects are listening to this particular sound and they're told that it's traffic, they've monitored their physiological responses. When they are then told that it's the ocean, their blood pressure drops, their heart rate goes down, and it's the same exact noise. But knowing that it's the ocean makes it special. And special it was. It was really a wonderful time. There were 12 women. I and Toby Neal co-taught. Toby basically just came along. She wasn't paid. We were testing it out to see if we could co-teach together. And we really can. We really are simpatico in a lot of teaching methods. She utilizes meditation and creative visualization and affirmations and hypnosis techniques to really bust the problems that we have as writers, these stories that we tell ourselves. So in the mornings, we would do our affirmation work, our writing with some prompts. We wrote together in this big room that was super, super ugly and really, really smelly when we got there. It just reeked of weed. And with some careful writing and bringing our all into that space. By the time we left, I was really sad to fold up the plastic tables and put them away to become our space. And everything was fantastic. I will say that 12 women with 2 bathrooms and everybody needing to shower and everything. That was a bit rough. This was the budget version of a retreat. This was the glamping almost, except with a roof and bunk beds. Next time I think I'd want some more bathrooms, but otherwise, like the ability to write together all day, to eat and drink and to walk out whenever you wanted. If you needed to clear your head, you walked out and suddenly you were on the ocean. It's just amazing. I really can't get over it. And I think that I hope that every single person came away with something revelatory. And I know that even I did, even Toby did. We learned things from this retreat that we weren't expecting to learn. I came away with 3 things. I came away with the knowledge, the gut knowledge, which you guys may have heard me building up to over the course of the last year or so. I think that romance and I are done, at least for a while. I need to take a break. I need to find the romance in romance. I need to feel about it the way that my dog Dozy and the rescue dog, foster dog, Molly feel about each other. They're constantly wrestling. They have so much fun. And I'm going to have to pause this recording yet again. So that was revelation number one. Revelation number two, and this came to me straight from a retreatant named Sophie, who was just really wise that weekend. She's going to be teaching those someday, I have a feeling. I said for the umpteenth time, you've heard me say it, I said it a couple times in class, not too much, but it came up. I said, I hate first drafts. And Sophie called me on it. She's like, I really think that you need to change your language around the way you say this, because she said, I've heard you say this time and time again. And she said that it's also her problem. So she's been reframing her language around it. And so over the week, the rest of the weekend, we were almost done then, but for the rest of the weekend, I really embraced the idea that I love first drafts, that they bring me excitement, that they bring me fun and joy. It really went along with some of the affirmations that Toby gave us. And I have been thinking about it and working with it, for the last 4 days now. And you guys, right now I'm loving this first draft. Like, actually loving it. I'm halfway done with this right now. I'm calling it my last romance. Who knows? I am fickle. You know that. In 12 months, I might be saying, I love romance and I'm back to it. But right now, I think I need a break. So I'm finishing up the series. Finally. It feels so good to be working on it because I've been putting this off for more than a year now. You guys have heard me grumble about this last Ballard Brothers third in a series romance. And I'm just writing it. Every day I get up, and lately I've just been so excited to write it. It's coming out of my fingers easily, and it's not good yet. It's a crappy first draft. That's what I write, but it's definitely up there in caliber with the rest of my work. I'm enjoying it. It's just a revelation. So just changing the way I think about it, telling myself, really lying to myself that I love first drafts, but affirming that and continuing to think it and hold it in my head that it's just play, that when I get there to the page, that it's fun. It's such a simple shift, and for some reason right now it's working, and I don't know if it's the affirmations or not. I kind of think it is because I've changed nothing else. So that has been marvelous. My third revelation again is that and I've had this before and I just need to remember it. The more time I get for meditation and really consciously being mindful and in the now and not in my worried head about what's coming next, the healthier I feel. I have felt really, really grounded and centered this week. I just hit 7 months sober today. Today's my 7-month sober birthday. And the road to sobriety for me has been, full of ups and downs. But right now, what it looks like is a little bit of calm and a little bit of serenity and a lot of feeling like I'm in exactly the right place, that I'm not doing anything wrong, that I am nothing to be ashamed of, because I manufacture shame like some people manufacture, I have no idea, titanium rods in factories. I don't even know where those are manufactured, but I can manufacture some shame just out of thin air. Somebody walks by the house and I feel shame that I didn't engage with them. It's dumb shame. It's not smart shame. And that's all melted away. And I'm enjoying sitting in this seat and talking to you and feeling comfortable with where I am. So that has been really enjoyable. And it could all be coming out of the fact that I just got done with a retreat and I'm still carrying with me some of that afterglow. But it felt like this before I went too, that everything was just going to be okay. Even when it's not okay, it's going to be okay. So that feels wonderful, and I just wanted to share that with you. So yes, the romance continues apace, about halfway through. Don't know what's really going to happen. I've veered completely from the plot that Jay and I cooked up, because apparently I'm not that much of a plotter. I'd love to be one more, but veered from the rails as I usually do. I will reverse engineer the plot later when I'm doing the revision, and it'll be fine. And in case I'm sure I mentioned, but I can't remember if I did or not, so I want to say it one more time. The show that I co-host with Jay Thorne on writing and living the writer's life has been renamed. It used to be The Pedal to the Metal. Now, no one knew what that was. Was it a show about flowers or heavy metal music? No one knew. Has been renamed. We are now The Writer's Well, and we talk about living a healthy, creative writing life. The Writer's Well. And I tell you what, search engine optimization, our listenership has just started skyrocketing because finally somebody knows what we're talking about. So if you're not listening to that show, we have a really, really good time over there. He's funny. I'm funny when I'm with him, and we really talk very genuinely and openly. Sometimes it can be a little bit polarizing, which is what we talked about on the last show, but I think it comes down to the fact that when you are genuine, truly genuine, you might be polarizing, and that is completely okay. And speaking of retreats, next year I only have 2 planned right now. I'm not sure if I'm going to add any more to that. They are wonderful, and they give me life and spark and juice, but they're also pretty exhausting to plan and take care of. So right now, the retreat in Venice in April, it's full. If you'd like to be on the waiting list for that, email me at Rachael@RachelHerron.com. And the only other retreat that I think I'm doing right now, unless I add one, we are doing Jay and I are doing a retreat in Cleveland, September 28th and 29th. It is more than a year away, which gives you time to get your ducks in a row. And we have a installment payment plan, but basically the whole weekend is a weekend wellness retreat around writing. It's going to be me and Jay and some other experts. So that is at thewriterswell.org/retreat. thewriterswell.org/retreat. If you want to hold your space, go over there. And in other business stuff, just a couple of shout outs to new patrons. Thank you so much to Shelley Britton, Kristen Fisher, Trina S. Pyron, Martha Neely. Thank you to Donna Kirshner and Ray Janikowski, who upped their levels, which always makes me feel like I'm doing something right if somebody says, yeah, I want to give you some more. It's like a bonus tip. And Meredith Hartwell came in at the monthly coaching level. So we're having conversations together. Thank you all. Thank you to all current patrons and past ones. If you can't afford to support me now, I completely understand. People come in and out. That's no problem. Patreon.com/Rachael is where that's to be found. And now let's jump into the interview with Kilby. I know you're going to enjoy it. Please take some time this week and get some writing done. I was talking to a friend of mine, and she was lamenting that she never writes, and it's the center of her heart, and but she never writes. And I challenged her to write this week 2 times for 10 minutes. If she gets 7 words, that's fine. Just sit down for 10 minutes and write. She'll get more than 10 words. 10 minutes twice this week. If you are the person who is just completely stuck and hasn't written in a few weeks or months or years, try it and let me know how you did, okay? Enjoy the interview, and we will talk soon. All right, well, I could not be more pleased today to welcome to the show Kilby Blades. Hello, Kilby.
Hello.
I'm so happy to have you here. Let me give you a little quick introduction for people who might not know you yet. Kilby Blades is a multi-award winning author of smart contemporary romantic fiction, as well as the author of Marketing Steamy Romance, a specialized guide designed to help writers of erotic romance to transcend restrictive policies pertaining to explicit content. Amen. Digital marketer by day, by night, she writes dynamic characters out of her tantalizingly complex predicaments. Not out of her predicaments, but I'm sure you do make them up. When she's not writing, Kilby goes to movie matinees alone, where she eats chocolate pocky and buttered popcorn together.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Sometimes down with wine.
And yes, and usually smuggles in not a little bit of red wine. She's a mother, a social justice fighter, and above all else, a glutton for a good story. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
We are friends in real life. We go to the same RWA chapter, San Francisco area, which everybody should come to if you're in the neighborhood. And I have wanted you on the show for a while, but when I saw Marketing Steamy Romance, I knew that you had to come on the show. You literally wrote a book to market, I feel like people need this kind of advice on writing erotic content. And I know this wasn't on my list of questions, but like, how did you come to write that book?
Okay, so when I first started publishing, actually the whole reason why I decided not to go with traditional publishing is because I'm a marketer by profession. And I thought, why would I leave all that money on the table giving it to publishers if I know how to market my books myself?
Yeah.
So I figured, I'll indie publish some titles and I know exactly how to use Amazon ads. I've done it for clients. I've been using Facebook for years and years. And I thought, I am going to crush this. And of course, I promptly did not crush it because all of my covers got rejected by Amazon. They got rejected by Facebook.
Oh.
There was nothing that I could do about it. And, I made some
man.
Probably should have classified my books as contemporary romance because, they're not steamier than most contemporary romance. But, I categorized them as erotica, which put me in, always and forever Amazon jail. And then between that and my covers, I couldn't get any traditional ads approved. And that's how a lot of authors are selling their books. And it's a tool that I don't have to use for the steamy books that I've written. So I found that I had to go learn a completely different set of marketing skills in order to market the steamier books.
That's amazing. I have a series of steamy books out, which I will never tell the name, that pen name, but I've been in the dungeon forever. I never sell that book. So I cannot wait to read your book.
You can't get out of the dungeon. And also the enforcement is very arbitrary.
Yes.
So even if, some steamy books get through, their covers get through and others don't. But either way, the terms of service say that they can veto anything they want to. So you really have no recourse and you have to have a backup plan. Awesome.
Thank you for writing it. And I'm so excited to tell listeners about that. But let's talk about process because that's what we do on the show. So you're extremely busy. What is your writing process? When do you get this done and how?
So I used to consistently be first thing in the morning, last thing before I go to bed writer. And then I had kids, and for probably about 5 years straight, I was so tired in the mornings that nothing could get me out of bed unless a small person was breathing on me. So I'm just coming out of that now, but for a long time it was just, write whenever I can get it in. And I think that was good because it actually taught me to actually write when I have time because like you're saying, I still do have this kind of busy life. I consult sometimes and my schedule's very up and down. So I find that I can write when I need to. But I write my best in the morning still, but my habit now is to stay in bed. So I'll wake up and I'll start thinking about what my characters are going to do. And only when I know what they're going to do I actually get out of bed and open the computer. So as soon as I start writing, I've got something.
That is ideal.
Yeah.
I don't know why I've never thought about doing that. That's such a good idea.
I find that if I open the computer and I don't know what scene I'm going to write, and it leads to a lot of staring, which leads to more staring, which leads to obsessing over what I might write. So under any circumstances, even when I'm just waking up, I actually wait until I know exactly what scene I'm going to write before I open the computer.
That is lovely and seems like I should have thought of it before this, and I'm going to try that. This is why I have this show, because I'm always looking for the magic bullet, and it doesn't exist, but I'm still looking for it after all these years. And do you write mostly at home then, or do you go out?
I've done both. I mean, at points, I have had a $20 a day Starbucks habit. And when that happened, I stopped writing so much at Starbucks, though I do find that I go through periods where okay, I look down and I've been wearing the same bathrobe for 3 days and it's got coffee stains on it and stuff like that. Then I'm embarrassed for myself. So sometimes I find that I do have to just get out into the world, even though I write a whole lot less under those circumstances. Sometimes I just need to get out of the house.
Awesome. What is your biggest challenge when it comes to writing?
I think probably, I write in the romance genre, so probably word count, because I come up with these really complex plots. And, I recently had a 122,500 word novel that I'm trying to traditionally publish. So I had to get it down to 90.
Oh my gosh.
Literally 89,999 words. And I'm talking to my husband. He's like, "Oh, just get rid of all the instances of very." To which I'm like, "Okay, that's not
You don't
feasible.
understand this job yet.
You don't understand this at all." So I always struggle. I always struggle with word count, and not because I'm a fatty writer. I'm not. It's just that I have got a lot going on, and it's got to somehow like come to a reasonable size.
How did that go, removing 30,000 words?
It was super painful.
40,000. Yeah.
It
30.
was
Yeah.
really painful. And that was after I had read a book. Do you know that book? It's called it's that book about writing faster. I think it's got like 2000 in the title. It's a really great.
2K to 10K. It's written by my name doppelganger, Rachael Herron.
Oh,
Yes.
oh, okay. So that 2K to 10K book is really, really good.
It's
And
great.
that actually helped my writing process a lot.
Yeah.
And I wrote very quickly, and I did get better ideas from writing that way. But then in some ways, it gave me more to edit down. So the editing was really, really, really like, the book that kills you.
This is the one.
It was, yeah, this is the one.
Oh my. Do you use dictation at all, or is this just all finger typing?
I'm good at dictation. I find that I use dictation more to, if I have an idea that I feel like I have to get out, I'm almost talking it through aloud for myself. And the dictation software tricks me into believing I'm being productive, but it's actually pretty unusable by the time I go back and edit it. Plus, I do a lot of dictation in my car because a lot of times I have a commute and I'll just be, so like anything that I come up with in my car is like completely unusable, but it does help me through that ideation process.
Yeah. Perfect. What is your biggest joy in writing?
Gosh, I love it when I come up with a really, really great plot. And I love it when I have an epiphany around something that has to happen to my characters. So just, I have these moments where, even if I'm reading it for like the 10th time, like where I'm still laughing out loud at my own thing, or, that big 122,000 word book, like I still cry every single time I read like ugly cry, like need a hanky, like not pretty crying. So I love that I'm in love enough with my stories and my characters that I am still moved by the things I've written. And I love going back and reading stuff that I wrote a long time ago.
I don't do that. I'm looking forward to someday getting into a place where I can do that, but I think I'm too scared of reading my own stuff that I'll just be so critical on myself.
You know what?
How do you handle that?
I thought that too. Like I thought, oh, well, I'm a much better writer,
Yeah.
Now than I was then. I sometimes read my stuff and I'm like, wow, I used to be really good. Sometimes I say like, I've lost something. Like, what have I lost? Or what was it that allowed me to write like that in the past that, so it's a little bit of both. I mean, it's mixed emotions, but I've read stuff that I wrote like more than 10 years ago. I'm like, wow, this is good.
Okay, that's fabulous. I'm going to try that. I'm just gonna try it. I'll let you know how it goes, and if I hate myself afterwards. Can you share a quick craft tip of any sort with us?
I'm not sure whether it's a craft tip, but I have a great author tip.
Yes, please.
Yes. Okay. So my secret weapon is my Kindle text-to-speech function. Do you use this function?
I have never even tried it. I know it exists, but I don't. What?
It doesn't exist on every Kindle. It does. I don't think you can use it on Paperwhite. I could be wrong. So I have a Kindle.
Oh, and I have a Paperwhite. So yeah, okay.
Okay. So it works on Kindle Fire 8. It doesn't work on the Kindle app on iPhone. It does work on the Kindle app on Android.
Okay.
What it is.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So you tap the screen and a play button comes up and then it plays back the book. Some people don't like it because it has a robotic voice. I can listen to other books. Like I will turn any book into an audiobook using using the text to speech. But the real way that I use it as an author is for editing. So I'm halfway through a book. I send myself my book in Mobi, document to document on my Kindle, and I start listening to my book. And I hear things that I would never get just from reading it. And I think the reason why is because when you read something, like I think the way your brain works, like visually, it's always coming through the same input. So there aren't things that you can see, but I absolutely hear problems, mistake, edits, everything on my books when I listen to them.
So are you playing it and then looking at the document at the same time and kind of comparing the two?
So for developmental stuff, I'll listen in the car. And that's another thing that makes it really
great idea.
efficient. Yeah. And that's another thing that helps me be able to just start writing as soon as I sit down. So like yesterday, I'm 20,000 words into a new novel. So yesterday I was like listening to it while I was running the kids to school. And by the time I sat back down at my computer, I realized some problems in, probably the first 10,000 words. And as soon as I sat down, I knew what I had to do. Now, when I'm doing fine editing, I do sit down next to my computer and I just sit there and close my eyes and listen to it. And if I hear a little, oh, I wrote that word twice, I go back and edit it. Or, oh, that sentence is awkward, I go edit it in real time. But it is like my secret weapon. It saves so much time.
That's insane. That is so cool. All right. I feel like I've already got amazing things from you, and I got something from you before we started. So this is already, I feel like we could just like shut it down now, but we're not going to. We're going to keep going. What is your favorite thing to obsess about in the world of writing, and why?
Oh, that's such a good question. What's my favorite thing to obsess about? I mean, definitely in the romance genre, I'm obsessed, and not in a good way, with insta-love.
What's that?
So, insta-love, it's when for absolutely no reason, characters spontaneously fall in love. And I do editing on the side as well. So like, that's my like, throw the book against the wall. The book can be great. It can end great. But if there's no reason to be in love, it completely drives me out of my mind.
So love at first sight. No. What is the opposite of insta-love? Because personally, I'm a big sucker for insta-hate. Insta-hate. I want insta-hate that turns to love slowly.
Yes.
Against yes. Against everything they want.
Me too. I love, and in fact, I write a lot of enemies to lovers. And the ironic thing is that like I'm married to somebody, and it was very love at first sight. So I don't know. Maybe I just don't think that can be accurately conveyed.
Well, maybe your brain says that's not a very interesting story, because
maybe
it happened, and it happened to you.
Yeah, it happened to me. Yeah, maybe I should explore that.
Maybe you should, because you could write from, there's a whole book, there's a whole series idea right there, I think.
Yeah. I think my theory, and there's no way to prove this, I think people read and write their opposite experience.
Well, I write straight romance, and I'm gay married, so that's definitely true.
Yeah, I think people write their opposite experience. I think my current theory is that people who have had complex love stories of their own, who really like the idealized, escapist romances. And like, for me, like I've been married to the same person for, 15 years. So like I've got my happily ever after, and I want to see like really messy love stories.
I absolutely agree with you, because I've been with my wife for 14 years, and it's super simple and easy, and she's not crazy, and we really, really like being around each other. And I like the complexity of these relationships I make up.
Yes.
I think that's a very, very sound theory, and I love it. What is the best book that you've read recently, and why did you love it?
My very favorite recent series is called, can I curse?
Yes.
Okay. It's called the Mindfuck series.
Never heard of it.
Abby. It's really, really wonderful. So she writes as a different author. So St. Abby it's just like, this is a dark romance, so I think she's separating her dark romance from her other much lighter contemporary romance.
Okay.
It's about a female serial killer.
Yes.
Who's not a serial killer because she likes killing people. She was done wrong by some people, and this is like a revenge retribution for things that happened to her in her past, involving a bunch of people who did things they shouldn't have done. So she's just going to get revenge, but there are a lot of people, so it's turned into a serial killer thing. And she accidentally meets an FBI agent who happens to be the FBI agent who is in charge of finding her.
Oh my God.
And the FBI agent thinks that it's a male serial killer. She's covering her tracks really well. She has an accomplice who's also helping, but it is this really, really amazing.
And it's a whole series?
It's a whole series. It's 5 short novels. All of them are published, so you don't have to wait for anything. And beyond it being a really interesting plot bunny, this is a study in craft. I mean, it is unbelievably written. Even if there were no love story, the revenge plot is just amazing. And then the love story is just amazing on top of it. It was like,
and it's called The Mindfuck what?
The Mindfuck series.
No, just simple as that. I'm
Yeah,
going to read that. I need that kind of escapism. That sounds fabulous.
that's amazing. Yeah.
Thank you. Now tell us about you. Where can we find you? Tell us about your most recent book or work or whatever you'd like to tell us about.
So I haven't published anything in about a year because I've decided to go traditional. So right now, all of my manuscripts are kind of in process. But you can find me at kilbyblades.com. I've written the first books that I've written are erotic romance. One of them is a kind of a friends to lovers sex arrangement type thing that turns into more. And the other one is this super weird book about a dad teaching his teenage son about sex. That one's called The Art of Worship, and it's just awkward and hilarious. The first one is called Snapdragon, the friends to lovers romance, and it has a sequel called Chrysalis. And I have a couple of other projects coming out soonish.
Now, in the 89,999 word book, is it romance, or is it a different genre that you're going to take traditional?
That's a good question. It's women's fiction.
Awesome.
But it feels very romancy. So I've realized identity-wise that I'm more fiction with a central romance, but my books have really sweet happily ever after, so they feel romancy.
Mm-hmm. That's pushing all my favorite buttons. So excellent. Thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you for being awesome. This has just been delightful.
Thank you.
We'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
Bye.